This segment sponsored by Yerba Mate, Berry Lemonade, and Celsius Thermogenics. If you want diarrhea and a pump start, have an Alani fruit juice.
Not a water bottle in sight over here.
Not a what? How do we tell you? It wasn't hydration. That didn't do it at all. So we're staying true.
Okay.
My water bottle's over there, and it's been empty for 3 days. But I brought it just in case. Rolling.
Okay. A question that we were recently asked by somebody that we were consulting with is, how do we preserve the company culture that we've grown today? How did we define it? And how did we grow it to what our company culture is right now? Which I think is kind of an interesting question.
It's a great question. And super important and not talked about nearly often enough.
Especially in this field, I think.
Especially in this field, and especially if you're a new business or you're just starting out. You have so much to worry about, so much that's occupying your headspace. You really don't have the time or the energy to even know to think about it or to go learn more about it.
Or do you ever feel like, since it's not something that you can tangibly go get, like I have to go get more Kuranda beds. That is something I can check off, and I can acquire it. It's here, it's in my building, and that's done.
Correct.
Culture just seems like something so intangible.
It is. It's anything else we do can be measured with data, like occupancy numbers, days without an incident, call off, how many staff do I have, how many do I need? Those are all data-driven things. Company culture is more just abstract. It's the vibe.
And that is what company culture is. How would you tell someone that, and there's usually two camps of people, right? The people that have been open for many years and just never really thought about culture as something they should focus on. Or you've got new people that are getting into this industry, that are starting daycares or starting boarding operations, that don't know they should be thinking about company culture. What would be a tip you could give them? Or like, what's the most important thing to start defining company culture?
I think just knowing what it is, which is it's the personality of your workplace, it's the vibe of your workplace, and it's framed on your purpose statement and your values. And those kind of come as an afterthought a lot of times. So first, figuring out what is the purpose statement going to be that's shared among all the employees. What is the reason we all come here to work, aside from just getting a paycheck? Like, what's the purpose for showing up? Is it because we love the dogs and we want to take the best care of them we can? Is it because we want to give the owners peace of mind in our community? Is it because we're filling a need and ensuring the dogs are better off mentally and physically than we found them? Or what is the reason? If paycheck was kind of left out of the equation, why do we come to work? So that's the purpose.
And we all have to be following that same
Correct.
Purpose, right? So that can be a little tricky too.
That's the key. If everybody has a different purpose, we're all operating sort of with an end goal in mind, that becomes inefficient when it comes to culture. So
a good purpose statement would be really unifying, right? So like if you have a purpose statement, and something that we often will see is somebody that we know that owns a business will have a purpose statement, but it's nowhere to be found, right? They know it, and they maybe did it for their business plan or whatever it is, or when they first got the business started. They don't really have it anywhere visible for staff to see.
Correct, right. And a lot of the staff don't know what it is, and it's not used in any sort of coaching sessions or in employee performance reviews. Adherence to the purpose statement should be part of the daily management of the facility.
Sure.
And talked about, instead of just, it's on a paper somewhere. We don't really know what it is.
And I know throughout the years, when the very beginning, we had a mission statement, which is kind of the same thing. But we had a mission statement when we made our business plan. And I don't even really remember what that one was. It was a long time ago.
It didn't fit.
So
no.
we kind of gave it a revamp, right? Once we were in the business and we were living the things that were important to us, we reframed our statement, made it a purpose statement. What is our purpose statement?
Our purpose is to provide a safe, fun, and interactive experience for the dogs in our community. We create a family atmosphere, and we deliver peace of mind.
Beautiful.
So that's why we all come to work. And we came up with that statement as a collective unit. So we had a staff meeting. We said, look, I know you guys probably don't know this, but we have a mission statement, and it is somewhere in a file. And we are looking to refresh that. Why do you all come to work? And so we got all these words up on a whiteboard, and we kind of came up with it together as a group, which I thought was super impactful and kind of got everybody's buy-in. I didn't just say this is the purpose. We kind of created it together.
Exactly. And something worth noting, I think, sometimes we even get caught up in this because we're all humans, but we think something more dangerous than not having that purpose statement would be to have it. You've got it plastered all over your website, your social media, you've got it in your, facility, and it's around for staff to see, right? And we have that going for us as a shining light of how we're going to interact with the dogs and the clients and the staff. If that's there and you're actively making decisions that go against that statement, I would say that would be more dangerous than not having one at all. If you've got the purpose statement, that is meant to guide your decision making on what you do at work. So it's important to uphold in coaching moments too, like whether it's, let's say for ours, for example, a customer is calling to check in on their dogs, and maybe it's a bit of more of a high maintenance person who's already called a few times. If that staff member is going to get really huffy about that and not welcome it as a chance to deliver peace of mind, and they're maybe creating some drama between staff about this client, that's a coaching moment right there. Nope, that's what we're here for. We're here to deliver that peace of mind. So it's important to remember that if you're going to have it, you've got to live it.
Correct. And then what corresponds with the purpose statement would be the list of company values. So these are individual things that we all hold near and dear, we all value, we hold them to a high importance while we're at work. Again, it's important that everybody is bought in and kind of agrees to that ahead of time. We have a list of 15 company values. They range from we have fun while we work, we support each other through cooperation, we respect one another, we don't waste supplies, we're efficient, we provide exceptional care for the dogs that are here. Different, kind of covering a wide range of topics. And we use them to, again, hold people and ourselves accountable to things that are those intangibles. So when you signed up, you agreed you weren't going to be late. I can hold you accountable because it's 8:05 and you were supposed to be here at 8. So that's an easy write-up. But it's those ones that are not easy. Well, you kind of rolled your eyes at that other coworker. You had a little attitude. Where is that in the employee handbook? I don't know, but I know that our value number 6 is we treat each other with respect. And that wasn't treating someone with respect. So therefore, you're getting written up just as if you violated the cell phone policy or the attendance policy. We hold the company values just as seriously as any other company policy.
And it's tricky because if you don't have those, then it does feel like drama, right? That's how the drama factory of some of these businesses, not just daycares alone, in our field, plenty of others, restaurants, anything like that. If you don't have those as a framework, it can get awkward. You said it great. Like, it's not in the handbook necessarily, but for us, we have all of those values on our employment application. We talk about it during our interview process. We talk about it during the onboarding. So before the employee ever even steps foot into the group of dogs, they've heard about it 3 times. Purposefully, we talk about it. They have to sign off on the values. So at that point, even if it's a new employee, there is no drama around that. We have fun while we work. If you come in here like a sad sack every day, we can discuss why you've already agreed that you would do that. You come in to work having fun. And it takes the drama of coaching those types of moments really out of that dramatic situation.
You can move more quickly. Instead of saying, well, do they know we shouldn't act like this? Did anybody ever teach them we shouldn't act like this? We've already talked about it. We've coached on it. So when those things come up, we can move very decisively. And that's how we preserve the company culture. We don't let somebody walk around miserable for 8 months until they finally decide to quit. But in that 8 months of time have done a lot of damage to our company culture and brought everybody else down. We act quickly. We already discussed this was a value of ours. It's clearly not a value of yours. And so therefore we're not aligning, and we're going to have to move a separate direction. And that could be happening within 3 weeks of employment, because there's no reason to. What will happen is that person will contaminate other people, and then maybe they leave because they don't want to work in this environment anymore. Now you're in a little bit of a hostage situation because you're short-staffed, so you can't let that person go. And so it gets out of control very quickly. So you've got to stay on top of it and make sure that you're treating that toxic behavior as a disease almost. You've got to eradicate and cut out cleanly and completely right away before it spreads.
And something worth mentioning is that you will have a culture whether you're paying attention to it or not. When we first opened, the reason we're able to talk about this kind of with the experience that we've had is because we've done it both ways, right? We have, early on in our career in 2012 when we opened, and Dan will explain, like we were just busy and we were being more reactive than proactive about our culture. We just took every day as it came. Some days were better than others. But I got very fatigued pretty quickly with the turnover, the staff drama, feeling like we just weren't really in control of what was going on. And it became kind of unpleasant at a moment to work at Fetch and Catch. It was kind of sad. And that's not what we, of course, dreamed of.
Correct.
Not even close.
Yeah, you have this image in your head of what it's going to be like when you open your facility and you're all just kind of like this. Come in, you do this for 8 hours, you leave. Man, what a dream. And then very quickly we found ourselves in a situation that was not at all that. It was, chaotic. And the day ran us. We just were trying to grasp at the strings to keep up. And we quickly realized that it was either we fix this and really spend however long it takes to get this culture to the point that people want to stay and we can really build something cool here, or I'm not sure that I want to do this anymore. It got very tiring.
Because we can't do this, and we couldn't have grown our business to where it is today without staff and Correct. Our team. Like they are, at the end of the day, the most important thing to us. They are what help us provide the quality care and the customer service, and without them, we would not be where we are. So it was important for us to say, okay, because people have often asked, well, how did you know it was the culture giving you that type of headache? But you have to ask yourself, you can't manage even 50 dogs by yourself. That's just a lot. So you need the staff to stay, and they'll only stay if they're happy. If you don't want to be there, and we owned the business, and if there were days that I was like, I don't really want to go in today, how do you think my staff are feeling when they don't have the buy-in of the actual business? It was important to us to make sure that they felt like they could stay and they could build a career here with us, and that was going to give us the power to kind of grow a business where we could provide all of these jobs for people in our community and just have a place where people often will tell us this doesn't feel like work. Right. And that to me really showed that we arrived to our culture, where it is now.
Yep. Exactly.
So knowing what we know now, in those first 2 years we opened, what would you have done different if we could have approached we just need another hour and a half of your time.
I was going to say, yeah.
But in terms of culture, I guess, how could we have positioned ourselves to have an easier time in the beginning? And how do you think it would have affected those first 2 years of owning the business?
I think we could have just, that's tough. I think we could have definitely progressed the business faster and enjoyed our business much sooner. We arrived eventually, regardless, but only after intentional effort. Had we started off, and I think what would have been helpful in the beginning, and I'm not sure, I think it'd been helpful to see the end goal.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think in my head I knew.
That's true.
I knew I don't want to be here.
That's true.
But I really don't know what it looks like if we change things. What does a good culture look like? I didn't have the perspective, I guess. So what would I have done differently? For sure outlined purpose and value statement.
For any hiring, right? Like
for any hiring. Yeah. And I would have held staff more accountable to what I wanted them to do or the way I wanted them to behave based on the values and purpose. But I think I only would have been able to do that if we would have continued to hire more aggressively.
Agreed.
In the beginning, because like so many people find themselves in a situation where they are bare bones staff and I can't let anybody go. And so this person comes in and is just this negative gossip factory every day, but they have to be in here with me 40 hours a week or I'm going to not be able to sustain the business.
Yeah.
So I think I would have.
Hard. How do you account for that in the beginning when you're worried about cash flow and just the margins of payroll? I mean, how do you?
I think I would have just probably tried to get more comfy being uncomfy in the beginning because I think I was so afraid of, well, if this person leaves, then how will we? Well, it's not going to be fun. And
it won't be forever.
that change is not going to be fun And it's going to be less fun the bigger you are and the more staff you have. So
Mm-hmm.
if I could have told myself then, when I have 9 employees,
Mm-hmm.
hey, this might be rocky, but we got to make some big changes, that wouldn't have been as bad as when we did it and had 42 employees.
That's true.
So I feel like it's hard now or hard later. When do you want
That
to
is
deal
one
with
of
it?
my favorite
Yeah.
things I think we've ever been taught. And I don't remember who exactly told us that, but pick your hard.
Yeah.
It's either hard now when you've got to either crate and rotate dogs more than you'd want to and you're short staff, or take less dogs,
Yeah.
or work the daycare floor. That's hard, but it's also hard later when
Mhm.
you've got double the dogs
Yep.
and you're really in a position where it's going to be hard. Like, I just love choosing your hard
Mhm.
because life is hard, and don't we know it? And it's not forever. The
Right.
sooner, in my opinion, a lot of that stuff now, it's like the sooner you can just do it and pull the band-aid off, the sooner you'll be to your goal. Like, just get
Correct.
it done. You're going to be, the time's going to go by either way. That's
Yep.
another one. You can write that down. The time's going to elapse either way.
Right.
So make a change, so when that time has elapsed, you can at least have something to show for it.
Right.
And I'm sure you can think, because I know I can, especially maybe once we identified, okay, this is the way the culture needs to go.
Mhm.
There were like that, we weren't as bad off as we were when there was culture that we weren't focused on, but we certainly weren't where we are now.
Right.
We're in that middle growth where there were people then kind of exposing themselves that had been with us for a while that
Mhm.
maybe didn't align with where we were going.
Correct.
Can you think, I mean, I'm sure you can think of a
Yes.
couple.
Yes. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a matter of the ship is turning a certain direction. We're turning. It's not a debate. It's not, well, I want to go that way. Well, we're all on the boat together.
Mm-hmm.
And as the captains, we've decided we are making a 90-degree turn here. You have to get off, or we're all going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the only two options. And so once you start meeting that resistance of, well, I'm not going to do that. And even though a lot of times they've been here for a long time, seniority cannot trump how aligned you are with our values and the direction we want the business to go. So yes, you may have been here for 100 years, but this is not then. This is now. And we're not going to be able to reach the destination that we wanted to reach without everybody going in the same direction.
And we hold ourselves just as accountable in terms of, we communicate openly and honestly. That's one of the values we uphold. And it's not like those people didn't have a chance to adjust, right? We're not monsters, maybe in some people's story, but that's for another day. But we've given people a chance, right, to correct and course correct, because you want to see people succeed, but not at the detriment of my team. Correct. So I will give you the feedback and I'll coach you, but I can't drag you. So I think for us, as long as we can sleep at night saying, well, we've given them a chance to figure it out. And if you can't, then it's just, unfortunately, I have to put the needs of the business and the dogs and the clients and the staff above one person's inability to figure it out.
Correct.
And that can be really hard, especially as a small business. But I would just say align yourself with people that you can, even just having that, whether it's consulting or mentoring or somebody, or even though a lot of those groups, you can get in there and just make sure that you don't feel like you're, hey, am I crazy? Or does this sound like someone that I should potentially part ways with? It's important to know that we've all been there, and it's not an easy decision, but it's probably the right decision.
And I think it's important to note, especially for any owners or managers of the facility, that sometimes the decision is difficult. That doesn't mean it doesn't have to be made. We've had so many times where we've had a top performing groomer that made us a lot of net income every year. We've had staff members that worked consistently weekends and overnight shifts and less desirable shifts, and people that it was going to hurt, it was going to sting to part ways with them. And it wasn't an easy choice, but it's a powerful message to send to the rest of the team that it doesn't matter who you are. Nobody comes above the culture and what we're protecting, what we're trying to protect here. So by letting those people go, if they can't course correct or they can't improve, you send a message. I don't care that you bring us a lot of business to our grooming salon. I don't care that I'm going to have to. We've had how many times over the years, we've let somebody go and then we've had to come in and work
an overnight.
an overnight shift, a
Yeah.
weekend shift. There was a stretch a couple years ago, we let a few people go and we had to work
It was every day.
6:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week. This was after 10 years of being in
Ugh.
business for 3 months probably.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
was
we
rough.
just lived here because yeah, the easier choice would have been just let them stay.
Mhm.
But I wouldn't be where we're at today if had I done that. So
And two types of people that's going to affect, right? The making those decisions sends the message to maybe some of the people that are performing a little bit lower because they are modeling the lowest standard.
yeah,
And that can encourage people to go, ooh, you know what? Okay, so they're actually serious. They're going to put their money where their mouth is and they will follow through. That will help. And then what a message to send to your top performers. I got your back. I got your back, and I'm not going to let one person perform lower than my standard that I've set. So you have to pick up extra slack. Some of our top performers will literally come thank us, like, oh, thank you for addressing that because holy cow. And that makes me feel so good. Like,
right.
hearing the top performing people that are showing up and putting in the effort, that message is so powerful to send to them.
Yep.